American immigration policies and ICE itself are complicated issues to talk about. Alligator Alcatraz, not so complicated. It is a tent-style detention camp. It opened on the beginning of this month, and it's deep in the Florida Everglades near Ochopee, somewhere out there. Initially built as the state-of-the-art place to hold criminals, the despicable criminals, on their way out of the nation. The Miami Herald actually did some working, and Tampa Bay Times also as well, along with some actual touring by some actual members of Congress. They had a list from the newspapers with a list of showing that 250 of the 700 detainees there at this Alcatraz of alligators have no criminal charges. They only have immigration violations. Essentially, they crossed the border, so they're not exactly despicable criminals. That's 30% of the people held have no actual criminal record in this place. Human rights advocates and journalists are painting a grim picture of the place itself. We have excessive heat and insect infestations because it is the swamps in Florida, unsanitary tents, malfunctioning toilets, and worms in food, minimal medical access because it's out there in the middle of nowhere. Although people who have conversated with me back and forth said it's not so much in the middle of nowhere, but there's really nowhere to go was the real issue. One detainee even claimed he's a U.S. citizen there, so that's a bit of complication as well. Lawmakers that toured the site called it humane and say the cages they are in, said call them cages, and a lack of oversight by anyone to really see what's going on there. Two lawsuits are active against this place. One over environmental harm, the other from construction wetlands there to keep things safe in the wetlands. Other by state legislatures who basically said they could not get entry into the facility to inspect it properly. Some got in, mostly federal level folks, the Congress folks, state folks, not getting in very easily. Federal government asserts that they didn't fund or authorize the camp, so they can't really do anything. Critics are challenging this. DHS and ICE involvement are also a big thing. And say, well, the big issue with this story is it should be something that's going to be done by Florida officials, done by Florida, and eventually reimbursed by the feds, by the United States government. That's the way it's been touted. Your mileage may vary on this one. Proponents are arguing that the remote location deters illegal border crossings and helps reduce overcrowding in standard detention facilities. If you know you're going to Alligator Alcatraz, you probably won't cross the border because of fear of getting caught. And it's going to help alleviate some of the actual issues in the other detention centers where they have to house the other bad hombres that are really folks that should be stuck here. However, there are always critics. They say that this is rather inhumane and pretty much punitive. And it doesn't actually deter anyone. It's just being mean, especially since 35% of the folks that are there right now have no actual criminal charges at the moment, just basically the civil charge of crossing over the border. Also, Eighth Amendment issues, environmental concerns, backlash, being bitten by gators, and the merch. Oh, the merch. Scrutiny will follow this place for a while. And there's always the thought process that once all these, once these millions of illegal people are deported out of here, what are we going to use Alligator Alcatraz for? Will you go ahead and make it another museum just like the other Alcatraz? Although Trump would like to put people there as well. The answer to that is probably not. Federal judge rulings say this is legal for the moment. So since legal for here for now, why not be legal for regular citizens as a detention center for them? Essentially a work camp to keep people moving out of the bigger prisons into other places. Why not? Why not? Why not?